This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
3/4 and 111.18. They're turning for home. Golden Sense is the target, but here comes My Loot rumbling up within 2 lengths. It's 2.5 lengths back to a tiring high tail. Then comes Heaven's Runway. Burn Identity's getting in gear, but it may be too late in this short stretch. Golden Sense under a drive. My Loot trying to reel him in. Burn Identity is rallying with every stride, but Golden Sense, a true champion, taking the Grade 3 $1 million Delta Downs jackpot.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Down the Stretch. I'm Mark Cassano. On this morning's show, a royal retirement. 4 guests from around the country will join us beginning in just a couple of moments, right here in New York with Mr. Tom Albertrani. Then out to California, where Mr. Richard Baltus will join us. To Kentucky, where Alex Clarkson has the defending champion in the River City. And finally to New Jersey, where Jason Settlemore, the general manager of the Meadowlands, will join us on this very important day for them. 4 stakes to the internal breaks, as well as a programming note concerning next Saturday's show. So all of that and much, much more if you stay with us for this, our November 23rd edition of the program, which is being sponsored by Embrace the Race, the apparel for the horse racing lifestyle, available at the Museum of Racing, at their new store at 12 Circular Street in Saratoga, and online at embracetherace.com. Once again, good morning. Happy Saturday morning. Busy show. We'll take you all around the country, and we don't do a lot of harness racing on this show, but it is a very important day for the new Meadowlands, which opens this evening with a 7:15 post. And Jason Settlemore, their young, new general manager, will join us at about 10:40 or so to talk about the Meadowlands. First, a programming note concerning next Saturday's show, with the New York Racing Association moving post time to noon next Saturday. Remember, it's Cigar Mile Day, Remsen, Demoiselle. We will begin a half hour earlier. So down the stretch next Saturday, we'll begin at 9:30. We're going to do our best to try to get you Shug McGahee, whose honor code is scheduled to go in the Remsen, and Buff Bradley, whose Groupie Doll is scheduled to go in the Cigar Mile. So again, that is next Saturday, down the stretch, beginning 1/2 hour earlier at 9:30. 2-time and very likely 3-time champion Royal Delta has been retired. Coming off a dull, surprisingly dull 4th in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, her owner Benjamin Leone made the announcement earlier this week. A 6-time Grade 1 winner, including 2 Breeders' Cup Ladies Classics, Royal Delta won 12 times, along with 5 runner-up finishes in 22 career races, earning about $4.8 million. The Belmont-trained 5-year-old will be bred to Galileo. What a wonderful career for Royal Delta. And Cluster of Stars, the unbeaten New York-bred filly, has also been retired. A winner of all 7 races, Cluster of Stars captured the Grade 2 Gallant Bloom in September at Belmont, a race which included a pair of Grade 1 winners. Cluster of Stars, who was pointing for next Friday's Gopher Wand at Aqueduct, apparently did not come out of her last workout well, and the decision to retire her was made. Steve Asmussen trained her for Turtle Bird Stable. And the California Horse Racing Board has exonerated trainer Bob Baffert of any wrongdoings in the deaths of 7 of his Hollywood Park-based horses. Those 7 horses died in just a 16-month period, which ended this past March. This is a shot of Flutterby winning the $50,000 Cut the Charm Stakes last Saturday at Calder. The 2-year-old filly upset at 18-1, but that's not the story. The story is that Flutterby is owned, was bred, and is trained by 93-year-old Jerry Bozzo. 93. Now, you might think that Calder, who is owned by Churchill Downs, would have played this up a bit more, maybe even publishing a photo of the winning owner and trainer. Well, we looked everywhere and couldn't find one. Congratulations to Jerry Bozzo, 93 years young. I think that is absolutely fabulous. Voting, public voting, is now open for the Secretariat Vox Populi Award for the most popular horse of the people. And here are the 6 finalists in alphabetical order. Game On Dude, who is scheduled to start again next Friday in the Clark. Groupie Doll, who will race, at least is scheduled to race, next Saturday in the Cigar Mile. Mucho Macho Man, the winner of the Breeders' Cup Classic. And Painter, who battled his way back from very, very serious illness. And Princess of Sylmar, owned by Schenectady native Ed Stanko and Wise Dan, the reigning horse of the year, and the heavy favorite to repeat as horse of the year in 2013. You can vote for the Secretariat Vox Populi Award by going to secretariat.com. And I think I'm not sure of this, but I think you can actually write in someone else if you care to. And in looking at these 6, I think it's going to be pretty close, to be very honest with you. And listen, this is only my opinion. I think Groupie Doll will certainly get her share of votes. Painter may have won this award last year. I'm not really certain. Princess of Sylmar will certainly get her fair share of votes, and so will Wise Dan. So go to secretariat.com to vote for the Vox Populi Award. And if you don't think your vote has a chance to count, think about this. Just recently here in upstate New York, the Malta Town Supervisors race was decided by 1 vote, and a judge, of course, but 1 vote. So go to secretariat.com and vote for the Vox Populi Award. And we are up to our first break on this November 23rd edition of the program. Thank you so much for having joined us. When we return, Mr. Tom Albertrani will join us as we go to the break. Last Saturday in New York, the Red Smith. The $1.55 to the $1 favorite, number 11, Hyper. 3-1 second choice, number 2, Imagining. So we'll take a look at a piece of the Red Smith to the break. Back with Tom Albertrani right after these messages.
So here is Mission Approved with his usual front-running gambit. Out there leading the field by 2 lengths. Half mile was up in 50 and 4/5 seconds. Natello continues on in second and remains off the rail. Imagining tipped 3 wide round the second turn and then slip and drive, running fourth while saving ground. Hyper's in behind horses, now racing in 5th position, followed by Sky Blazer 6th on the outside. Then Longshot Sandy in the Sun, now 7th toward the rail. How Great is a covered up 9th, followed by Arctic North, now 10th out to the inside. Then farther back, it's Hangover Kid, Elusive Strike, and Tannery remains the trailer. She's about 9 lengths from the lead here with a half mile to go in this marathon. So up front, it's still that 9-year-old long shot leader, Mission Approved. Natello right off his flank now, and Imagining ready to roll. In the clear on the outside is third. Slip and Drive being ridden along now fourth. Sky Blazer following Imagining around the far turn. Hyper 6 still about 5.5 or 6 lengths from the lead. How Great revving up on the far outside as the tempo really starts to increase here. Sandy and the Sun is giving way toward the rail. Hangover Kid on the outside. Tannery is 8 from the front at the top of the stretch. Coming to the final furlong, and it's still Mission Approved, but here comes Imagining on the outside, and Slip and Drive coming through on the rail. Here comes Slip and Drive. And a late run coming from Hyper and Arctic North. Sky Blazer on the outside. Hangover Kid late in the game, and they're coming down to the finish, and it is Imagining holding on. Hangover Kid and Tannery came from way out of it in a photo for second there.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Embrace the tradition. Embrace the passion. Embrace the race. Apparel for the horse racing lifestyle.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Cassano, and Imagining for Shug McGahee. I believe that was Shug's third straight win in the Red Smith and Joel Rosario by a half length over one of my favorite New York breds, Hangover Kid, who was second at 23-1. You get great value on Hangover Kid. He was great value at Saratoga when he won the West Point, and that was a very good effort at 23-1 with Tannery finishing third. All right, first guest this morning has a couple of nice 2-year-olds for today's Stallion Series at Aqueduct. We welcome in live via telephone Mr. Tom Albertrani. Tom, Mark Cassano welcoming you back to Down the Stretch.
Morning, Mark.
Morning. Tom, always nice to have you. Let's begin with your 2-year-old colt, Empire Dreams, in the second race. This will be his 5th start since late July. I mean, that's kind of unusual in this era, but very refreshing. Tom, talk to us about Empire Dreams.
Well, he's done quite nicely for us this summer, and he made a big move up in the Bogart last time he ran to finish second, and it looks like he's just been making some giant steps forward after every race. So we're really happy to see the horse come into this week, and he's doing great, and we never look forward to seeing him run later this afternoon.
Tom, take a moment to describe him. We're going to put a shot of him on the screen for our audience. Take a moment to describe him from a physical standpoint, if you would.
Oh yeah, well he's a really athletic-looking horse. He travels well over the surface. Loves to train. Just a nice horse to be around, and hopefully he's going to develop to be a really useful 3-year-old later on.
Well, after breaking his maiden 2 starts back, he faced Wired Brian in last in the Bertram Bongard. For our audience, Empire Dreams is number 6 in here. And obviously, Tom, when you're facing Wired Brian, that is a very, very tough task. But your colt ran well to finish a solid second. Talk about this effort, if you would.
Well, he broke well that day, I remember, and then he sort of dropped back a little further back than I thought he might get behind the leaders. Normally he's got some pretty good speed in his first few races, and he kind of dropped back a little bit, but he found a good late stride and finished up well. So it was a really good effort to run second in his last race. So, we're breaking from the inside today, and hoping he gets away from there in good order, and hopefully we'll just see how he runs on the inside. And there's not a great deal of speed outside of him, so we'll just see how he leaves there.
Yeah, you're cutting back from the 7/8 in the Bongarde to 3/4 this afternoon. And as you mentioned, you've drawn the rail. Salva Freud has got speed outside of you. We don't know about the Finger Lake shipper, Lady Smart Alec, but I'm going to guess that Erod may have to leave running out of there today and not get so far back.
Exactly. If he breaks sharp, which he has done in the past, I think we're just going to have to let him, kind of leave there running a little bit and just kind of see how the race unfolds within the first 16th of a mile or so. But he's got enough natural speed to put himself into the race early and kind of mix it up a little bit.
Tom, the Bongarde was his 4th career start, but his first race on Lasix. He ran Lasix free the first 3 times. Why the change?
Well, we did notice a little trickle back in a breeze, so we just decided to, just use it as a preventative more than anything. So it wasn't terrible, but, just like to maintain it as much as possible.
How did he come out of the Bongarde, and how's he been training up to this afternoon's race?
Well, right now, all I could say is he couldn't be better. He's just doing very well, and his last couple of works have been spot on, and just everything's been going in the right direction for this horse going into this race.
Well, that sounds wonderful. In race number 5, you're going to be running your 2-year-old filly, Sky Saratoga, against the likely favorite Miss Narcissist. A respectable 4th in her debut 2-back. She broke her maiden nicely in last. We're about to take a look at it. For our audience, she is number 8. Tom, tell us about Sky Saratoga.
Well, she was very impressive breaking her maiden last time she ran. Her first start, she ran very well. She was a little green and, came up a little short that day, but she made such a tremendous improvement off the first race to her maiden win, and it was just so impressive how she drew away that day. So, we're hoping that she could do the same thing and hopefully make another step forward off of that race. But she looks like she's definitely, going to be a very tough contender in here today.
Fair to say she needed her debut?
Yes, she ran well. She just got a little tired that day, and we were kind of expecting to get a race in her and hope for the best. We always saw a little talent with her, but she ran probably better than what we were expecting the first time she ran, and she actually didn't get beat very far, just running a little green and coming up a little short.
Well, we're watching her draw clear through the stretch, and Tom, what impressed me so much about her this day was she stumbled a couple of jumps out of the gate, but just cruised up outside the leaders on the turn before drawing away to this big win.
Yeah, she was very impressive. The way she moved off her maiden start the first time she ran, this filly looks like she definitely has a great future ahead of her, and we're hoping to see that later today.
She is a daughter of Golden Missile, and again in a moment we're going to have a shot of her on the screen. Take a moment to describe her from a physical standpoint.
She's kind of a little compact kind of filly, but she loves to train and very good moving filly on the track. Just a nice horse to be around as well, and she looks like she knows her cue when she's working. She's very honest and very professional.
And how'd she come out of that maiden romp? How's she been working for this afternoon?
All good. She's been just training very well, and as Empire Dreams, both horses are doing extremely well, and it's always exciting to have these kind of horses, and look forward to seeing them run later.
Now, you are also going to have Ultimate Empire run in this afternoon's 8th race, one of the other Stallion Series races, but you've had to scratch him. Tom, tell our audience why.
Well, there was a little mix-up with the nominations. We supplemented him into the race because we thought that was something that we were allowed to do, but after the entries came out, the New York Fund said he was not eligible to compete today, so under those circumstances we had to withdraw him from the race today, and there was nothing we could do about it, but just a lack of communication, I guess, between the racing office and the New York Fund. So we'll have to scratch today and see him race on Wednesday instead.
We saw him win at Saratoga. He's a nice, consistent runner for you.
He is. He's been a very consistent, honest horse first all summer, and it would have been nice to see him run today. But hopefully there'll be some bigger things for him later on this winter.
Now, next week, a lot of awfully good racing action with a holiday fest over the extended Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Who are you going to have for those races, Tom?
Well, next weekend, it looks like I'll be sending Better Lucky out to California for the Matriarch Stakes. It's the same race she had won last year. So she's going to be shipping out there. And I think other than that, we're going to be maybe a little light in the stakes category next weekend.
Oh, you won't have anybody for the new Toasting won't be running in New York?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Toasting will be running as well in the Calmly. And there might be a possibility of running Centering in the Go for One, but we haven't decided on that just yet. So we'll have Toasting next week here in New York and Better Lucky in the Matriarch in California.
Boy, Better Lucky has done awfully well for you. Maybe not the most consistent filly, but when she's on her game and she puts it all together, obviously she's a Grade 1 stakes winner.
Yeah, we had her lightly race this season. She really prefers going a 1 mile distance, and we had some few opportunities to go that distance for her. Mile and 1/8 was a little bit too long. A mile and 16, she just kind of gets there for us, but she's really her best is a mile, and we've just been a little bit limited. So we just kind of placed her carefully, and we were lucky enough to win a Grade 1 this year again with her at Keeneland. So we're hoping to get a double out of the Matriarch Stakes this year again with her.
Well, Tom, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. All the best this afternoon with the babies. Best of luck next weekend, both here in New York and in California. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You too, Mark. Thank you very much.
Tom Albertrani, ladies and gentlemen, and we are up to our next break. When we return, it's out to California, where we'll welcome in Mr. Richard Baltas. Speaking of California, as we go to the break, the Sharp Cat at Hollywood. It featured a fast and contentious early pace. So we'll take a look at a piece of the Sharp Cat to the break. Back with Richard Baltas right after these messages.
Good solid pace on to the backstretch, and the leader is Pleasant Miss as she clears in front of Be Proud, who had to check briefly off her heels. Pleasant Miss leads by a length. Be Proud shifts to the outside to re-attack in second, and these two motor along. Pleasant Miss a half length in front of Be Proud in second. Saintly Joan races in third. She's about 2 from the front, with Georgia just inside of her. Those 4 have sprinted far clear of Perched, who's about 10 lengths behind, and she's 2 in front of Arethusa as they run up the backstretch in the 8th. Sharp Cat Stakes and Be Proud takes over the lead. At the half-mile marker, it's Be Proud, now a neck in front of Pleasant Miss in second. Saintly Joan continues to gallop third. She's 2 from the front. Georgia is 4th now, but Georgia's dropping out of it. Something's gone amiss with Georgia as she has completely dropped out of it. Back to last, passed by both Arethusa, who moves into 4th, and Perched. So Be Proud is the leader towards the quarter pole. It is Be Proud, a 2.5 length advantage. Arethusa is 3rd now, but she's about to get into 2nd. Outside of Saintly Joan, it looks like it's down to those 2, and Be Proud has the lead, but Arethusa begins to run after her and lengthen her stride. Be Proud settles into the lane. A 2-length lead, but she'll have to work right down to the wire because here comes Arethusa, and Arethusa has blown right by. Be Proud is left back in 2nd. Saintly Joan is 3rd and Perched. It's Arethusa straight and strong. Arethusa wins the 8th Sharp Cat Stakes, and she wins by 7. Be Proud was 2nd. Saintly Joan 3rd. Perched finished 4th.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano. My thanks to Tom Albertrani once again for having joined us. And Arethusa from last to first for Owen Hardy and Corey Nakatani to win the Sharp Cat by 8 1/4 lengths. Our next guest has an interesting, very lightly raced 2-year-old set to go postward for this afternoon's Real Quiet Stakes at Hollywood Park. The colt is Mr. Splash, his trainer, Mr. Richard Baltus. Richard, Mark Asano welcoming you to Down the Stretch.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's very nice to have you. I'm fascinated by your colt. Richard, he's a homebred. He's only run once. Talk to us about when you got him, how his early training went, how everything has gone.
Oh, okay. Well, I got the horse, I think it was in May last year, or this year, whatever. And I came from Kentucky, and he looked like he just come out of the field. He was very green, and didn't look like a whole lot, really, when I got him. And then he just really started progressing and did everything that I wanted him to do. And when I went down to Del Mar, we were getting him ready to run, and he was working very well. He was a very beautiful mover, I think, and I had him ready at the last week of Del Mar, and the race overfilled, and I couldn't get him in. So then the owner talked, and we found that race up there at Golden Gate, and we shipped up there a few days before, and he was just ran an incredible race because I thought he had 0 chance to win. he was last, and then he was blocked, and he was still blocked at the 8th pole. And at the 16th pole, he kind of got out, and then he just took off. And I was like, wow. So I've always thought he was a pretty nice colt.
Well, we are about to take a look at that race you described, his debut on September 7th at Golden Gate. And for our audience, he is number 11. And folks, pay particularly close attention to number 11, Mr. Splash, because for our audience and for you, Richard, I still find it hard to believe he won this thing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It was kind of amazing.
Now, give us an idea. You talked about he was training well at Del Mar. What did you expect from him in his debut? I mean, had you knuckled down on him pretty good? Had you turned the screws pretty tight? Or were you thinking he might need a race?
Oh, I was thinking he might need one. You know, he worked well enough, but I always think like that. I don't particularly breeze them very hard in the morning. You know, I like to do it on their own in company. But he was running down horses in Del Mar. I mean, in workouts, there was horses that were breaking off in front of him, and he was running them down. And he was a little bit slow out of the gate. So I figured, well, you know, he might need one. You know, he's fit enough to win, but he might need a race. And you know, just because he was just still learning, as most horses are when they run the first time. But I really thought he was a good horse.
What did Jock, I'm not familiar with Mr. Martinez. What did Jock say to you after the race?
Oh, he just had a big smile on his face. Oh, this is a good horse. So, yeah, it actually worked out. Actually, we went up there and, you know, we got kind of messed around at the draw with some of the jocks, and this girl she's like my foreman assistant. She was up there, so she told me this kid tried really hard, so I put him on the horse.
Well, it certainly worked out. Now, Richard, is he a closing sprinter or do you expect he can stretch out?
Well, I would think he can stretch out. I mean, physically, he's got, a type of horse where he's very well balanced, got a nice long neck. He's very, I would say, efficient stride. He doesn't look like a sprinter physically, and that's usually by what I go by. I mean, he looks like he's going to grow into be a nice colt.
Now, he hasn't run since he broke his maiden on September 7th. Has there been a problem, or was that by design?
Well, we missed like 2 weeks because what happened, he got in a workout, he got a dirt clod. I guess it hit his eye, and he had a little ulcer on his eye. So we had to just basically stop on it and treat that, but it wasn't anything physical besides the eye. The eye is fine now. The horse is doing well. Now, sometimes in the mornings we gallop him in goggles just to protect him, but he's ready to go.
So for the members of our audience looking at his past performances and looking at the workout pattern, there's a month between works, September 23rd to October 23rd. That's the period you're talking about.
Yeah. Actually, we had to just send him to this clinic because, when the eyes get like an ulcer, sometimes you have to treat him 24/7. So we did that. We sent him over there, and he missed 2 weeks, and he came back, and he hasn't missed any time since. So.
Richard, how good was the work on November 7th when he went 3/4 in 11-4?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think the second best work was like 13 or 14. I might be wrong, but it was a pretty good work. And then we came back, and I gave him an easy 7/8. I wanted to work him around both turns, and he did that fairly easy. And then 4 days before the race, we just went a little half in 51, and he come out of it good. He jogged today, and he's bucking and playing, so I expect him to run well.
All right, that last work, I wanted to ask you about it because some of our audience members are going to look at it and say, wow, 20th of 20 works, 51-2, but in your mind, that's what you were looking for from that last work?
Yeah. I let my exercise rider work him that day, and he's more on the conservative side, and I just basically told him not to take much out of him. So, that sometimes the times really to me don't mean a whole lot, especially 4 days before the race. You don't want to go too fast,
You got Mike Smith for this afternoon's Real Quiet. Have you and Mike talked about the colt?
I talked about it with his agent. Mike, he's got a lot of business, and so he took the call. So I'll talk to him in the paddock. He knows what to do.
And Richard, before we let you go, your nice turf filly, Flashy Ways, she was away from the races from April till late October, came back with an okay effort. How's she doing?
She's doing better now. She needed the race. She had a little small flake in the left ankle, a little chip that we took out and gave her the time, do the right thing. And she's doing better now. She's really doing good. I think she needed the race. She was a little bit rank in that race, and she kind of needed it. So she kind of made her move and then flattened out. But if you watch the race, she was a little bit headstrong that day. So I expect a lot better effort for her next time.
Got a spot picked out for her next start?
Actually, I'm looking for a 2 other than. She's a 2 other than allowance filly, unless they come up with some stake for 3-year-old fillies. But, yeah, and I have a first-time starter in the 7th today that has worked better than I thought she was going to work. She might be okay today, too.
Really? 7th race at
Lust
Hollywood?
for Life. Lust for Life.
Okay.
Is her name, yes.
She's got a chance to run well this afternoon.
Yeah, she'll be big odds.
All right, sounds very good. Well, Richard, thank you. First of all, thanks so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. We appreciate it, and all the best later this afternoon, not only with the maiden, but with Mr. Splash and the Real Quiet.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Richard. Richard Baltus, ladies and gentlemen. And we are up to our next break on this November 23rd edition of the program. When we return, it's off to Kentucky, where we'll welcome Mr. Alex Clarkson. As we go to the break, the Commonwealth at Churchill. The turf less than firm, that might have been the key for the 5-2 favorite. Number 4, River 7, for one of last week's guests, Nick Gonzalez. So we'll take a look at a piece of the Commonwealth to the break. Back with Alex Clarkson right after these messages.
Golden Sabre is racing just on the heels of that leading group, then taking a keen hold is Morrow Tap, who's been held together early. Leighton Register towards the inside, and held up at the back of the pack is Formidable Heart as they go through halfway in the 10th running of the Commonwealth Turf. The half in 49-1. They're about to leave the back straight behind them. Frack Daddy looms towards the outsider of Ruler of Love. These are still the first two. Dorset will go into the turn, racing in third. River 7 is in fourth. Brave Man is now in fifth. Around the outside, Prado Olay. Then to the inside is Winning Cause, followed by Kagan, who's had a very rough trip. Golden Sabre is asked to try and quicken, and so too Morrow Tap as they come into the lane. And it is Frack Daddy against the hedge. Dorset towards the outside. River 7 bursting through between those two. Down the outside, here comes Kagan. They're deep inside the final furlong. Frack Daddy taken on now by River 7. River 7, Frack Daddy. Then Kagan. Flying late is Morrow Tap. Racing towards the line. It is River 7. River 7 takes the 10th running of the Commonwealth Turf. It was the second win in the race for jockey Sean Bridgmahan as River 7 got the better of Frack Daddy at the end of the Commonwealth Turf.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano. My thanks to Richard Baltus once again for having joined us. And River 7, Nick Gonzalez, Sean Bridgmahan by a half over Frack Daddy and Kai Gunn. Next guest has the defending champion Keep Up for today's River City at Churchill. We welcome live via telephone Mr. Alex Clarkson. Alex, Mark Asano, welcoming you to Down the Stretch.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Good to be with you.
Thank you for being here this morning. Alex, I want to take you and the audience back to a year ago. The 2012 River City. Keep Up, rallying on the extreme outside. He's widest of all here in the white cap to upset at 30-1. Alex, he began his turf career 3 for 3 and looked like he might be special. Talk to us about Keep Up.
Well, Keep Up is very special to me. He tries really hard all the time. He's a very big horse. He's 17 hands, weighs around 1,200 pounds. When he gets rolling, he's like a big locomotive. You know, you can't alter his course kind of thing. You know, you don't want to stop him from running. When he gets rolling, he's like a big train. Last time he ran at Keeneland, he ran very, very well. It was a slowish pace, and he got in the thick of it. He was kind of tugging on the rider, but when he shook loose at the top of the stretch, he was full of run. So I'm very happy the way he's coming into this next edition of the River City. The last couple of work plus his races got him really focused, and he's been training great. So I'm delighted with him.
Well, in a couple of moments, we'll take a look at the piece of that Keeneland race you're talking about. Alex, this year, not as brilliant, although, listen, a pair of wins in 6 starts is nothing to scoff at. But any differences this year? Any physical problems? Mentally any different?
Not mentally. Physically, he raced them 3 races last year, real close together, a couple in November, and we gave him the winter off, and we just kept him at the barn, and we just trained him there. We gave him some time and trained him, got him ready for Keeneland. He ran April, May, June, and July, so he was okay physically. But the first 2 races that he ran, he got bumped at about the 8th pole in the one race, and it just knocked him off of his game. And the next time he ran, he stumbled badly leaving the gate, and he just couldn't catch up. They went slow fractions. I think they went a half and 50, but they were going 46 or something for the next half. So he just couldn't run into those fractions, We took him up to Chicago. It was a little soft up there, so that is good for today. At least I know he can handle that anyway. And he rallied really well. He rallied really good in the race, and it was great. And when we tried to get him, our main objective was the Arlington Million, and you had to be 1, 2, 3 in the what's the name of that race? The Arlington Handicap. Sorry, the Arlington Handicap. Yeah. So he was 15-2 lengths. He was a length short of that. And it wasn't that he came out of it. He tried really hard. He was a little tired. It's a long trip up there. And when he got back, because we weren't eligible for that, we just there was nothing in the immediate plans for him. So we thought, well, we'll just back him off and let him come around to us. And it just took him a little longer. There was one race we were trying to catch in September at Churchill, and the race didn't go, and I didn't take him to Kentucky Downs, so that's why I took him up to New York to run him there. And you say he's not brilliant this year, but that was kind of my fault. It was a very long trip up there, and I didn't realize just how far, how much it took out of him. He ran kind of flat, and maybe that was the reason why, He just came out of I think it's 17 hours, so it was a long way to go. But I'll take the blame for that one. He came back from the race. He came back from New York. Physically, he was fine. We just had to get him back in the game again, And he's the kind of horse, when you train him, he'll let you know how he's doing. If he's kind of just shuffling along, then he's not 100%. But when he's on his toes, then he's ready, and that's how he is today.
Well, we're about to take a look at a piece of his last race at Keeneland. This is an allowance race. For our audience, keep up is number 4. As we pick it up, folks, he's last on the screen, and you'll see there is no pace in here. But Alex, he overcame that to win by 3/4 of a length. Let's talk about how has he come out of that race, and how's he training to this afternoon's River City?
Well, he came out of the race in great shape. We were expecting him to run like that, but you have to do it. And he was great. He came out of the race. He was full of run. He was striving going into the race. And we decided we would just train him up to it. We'll give him a couple of nice breezes. He breezed one time afterwards. He breezed in a minute. It was just a real comfortable breeze. And the other day, he was full of run leaving the pole, and I just let him run the last 1/8 of a mile. And he galloped out really strong. So he's coming into the race as good as he was last year, but definitely as good as he came into the Keeneland race a month ago. So, I'm really happy how he's going into it. The turf course, say it's going to be a little soft, but everybody has to get through that. So we'll all have the same issue there, So I'm not concerned about that. We have a different change of rider today. Miguel Maynard normally rides the horse. He's going to the Delta Jackpot races in Louisiana. But we got the leading rider. We got Corey Lanerie. So what a great substitute I have. So he'll fit the horse well. He's a good, very, very good rider. And Keep Up's not a hard horse to ride. Last year he was kind of coming from way out of it, but he doesn't have to be that far back. It just depends how they go from the gate to the first turn today, how the pace is for that 1 1/8. When they run down the stretch, he'll get himself in a nice, comfortable position, hopefully, and I'll let Corey do it from there.
Well, Alex, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch, and all the best with Keep Up as he tries to defend his title in the River City.
Well, Mark, it was great talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
very,
Alex.
very much.
Best of luck. Alex Clarkson, ladies and gentlemen, and we are up to our final break. When we return, Mr. Jason Settlemore, the general manager of the Meadowlands, will join us. As we go to the break, the Mrs. Revere from Churchill, wide open. 3-1 favorite, number 4, I'm Already Sexy. So we'll take a look at a piece of the Mrs. Revere to the break. Back with Jason Settlemore right after these messages.
At halfway in the 23rd running of the Mrs. Revere, and it's Zero Game who leads them along now by just over a length. Then towards the inside, getting closer, is Nellie Cashman. Out wide the light blue, I'm Already Sexy, and there between horses is Quality Kitten. A break then of 2 lengths back to Effie Trinket, who goes into the turn, racing now in 6th place, and they're on the turn, and Zero Game has got the lead, but only just. Here comes I'm Already Sexy around the outside as they race down towards the final quarter mile. Round the wide outside, Frivolous tries to make her presence felt, and so too Effie Trinket. It is now I'm Already Sexy, taken on by Frivolous. Towards the outside is Effie Trinket, and through on the inside is Nellie Cashman. Inside the final furlong they go. Effie Trinket and Sean Bridgeman are out in front now. Now the cavalry begin to close. Here comes Emotional Kitten. Emotional Kitten trying to get to Effie Trinket. It is Emotional Kitten. Emotional Kitten wins for Victor Espinoza and tags Effie Trinket right on the wire. Dance Again stayed on, so too did Pryor, but too late. And hanging on towards the inside came Nellie Cashman and Frivolous.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. With a newly designed and engineered internet wagering platform, enhanced video streaming, additional funding options, and 3 new individual wagering opportunities, CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. Combine that with our all-new mobile website. You have 2 of the most powerful, innovative, and advanced wagering platforms available today. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Cassano. My thanks to Alex Clarkson once again for having joined us. An Emotional Kitten for Wesley Ward and Victor Espinoza by a half over the New York shipper Effie Trinket, with Dance Again third at 55-1 for one of last week's guests, Malcolm Pierce. Back in 1976, the Meadowlands opened, and as a 1-mile harness track with big fields and high-quality racing, it quickly became the mecca for standard-bred racing. Well, tonight begins a new era for the Meadowlands, and joining us is their general manager, Jason Settlemore. Jason, Mark Cassano welcoming you to Down the Stretch.
Morning, Mark. I hope you're doing well, along with all your watchers and listeners out there.
We are.
Today here in northern New Jersey, the sun is shining, and we're getting set to kick off our brand new $90 million facility with live racing tonight. So a lot of hard work and dedication, a culmination of a lot of hard work and dedication coming tonight, obviously from LP Simonelli, our construction guys, our construction manager, Rich Ziegler, Wally Wright, and all the union workers and construction workers, along with all my employees here at the Meadowlands Racing and Entertainment. And we opened simulcast on Monday, so we're getting ready to swing the doors open today for live racing. And like I said, a lot of culmination of a lot of hard work and dedication by everybody involved here at the Meadowlands Racing Entertainment.
And Jason, you also mentioned a $90 million investment. And in an era where racing, without having another revenue stream, a racino, a casino, VLTs, slots, is struggling, why such a dramatic investment?
Well, I think the level of passion and dedication that Mr. Doral, Jeff Doral, has, our managing partner, has for horse racing is sometimes overlooked. racing and general harness racing, and particularly harness racing. And but he thinks that there's obviously a way to make money here at horse racing and melding the racing part of it and the entertainment part of it together. And so that's what we're going to attempt to accomplish here over the next several years. Here at the Meadowlands Racing Entertainment. So we're excited about it and excited about the opportunities that lie ahead.
As we take a look at some video of your new facility, talk to our audience about it.
It's absolutely fantastic, Mark. You've got, as soon as you walk in to the simulcast area, so let me take you through that, and I'm taking you through it obviously in my head here as I can't see what's on your television screens, but you've got the 4 different quadrants of simulcast, which also includes Race World. In addition to that, you've got the VIP teletheater, the Ultra VIP teletheater for our biggest customers, biggest gamblers. And then as you move throughout the area on the grandstand floor, you've got the cafe, which services our simulcast customers throughout the week. And then you've got the main line there from live racing that we've been opening up here lately as well if there's an overflow from simulcasting. And then as you move into the eastern part of the ground floor level, you have also 3 different, the cafeteria that serves, in particular, each one is individualized. The first one serves burgers and fries and that kind of thing. The next one serves tacos. The next one serves pizza. And then as you move to the eastern part of the apron towards New York City, you've got there right now, which is coming in the spring of 2014, and we're actively seeing work over there now, comes the House of Q, and also in Little, New Jersey, in an area for families to sit out on and watch the races. And those areas are going to come with a barbecue pit. It's just going to be a fantastic area come the spring of 2014. As I move up to the next level, you've got Pink, which is our new terraces dining, which sits up to 300 people. And when you first walk into it, you'll notice that the first thing you'll notice are the pink chairs. They're all the name of the restaurant, Pink. And then as you move down through that floor, you've got 6 different luxury boxes. You've got an area there that can be stanchioned off and have 6 different luxury boxes for 6 different parties, or you can have one big party that encompasses the entire 6 boxes there. So that's absolutely stunning as well. And then as you move to the rooftop terraces, you've got Victory Terraces up there in the spring, the summer on days. You're going to have breathtaking views of the skyline in New York City, including Freedom Tower and also the Empire State Building, along with the other great sightlines of New York City. You'll be able to see that, be able to sit there and watch the races, have a couple of drinks and eat dinner there as well. So we've got all these different areas. We've got a brand new facility here, obviously, 90 million plus, modern, efficient, and wireless technology throughout the entire place. They're telling me that the Wi-Fi system here is doing very well. But obviously we're going to test that theory tonight. But it's a brand new, beautiful $90 million plus facility. It's a culmination, like I said, and seeing the fruition of this whole thing coming together here for live racing tonight is absolutely it feels like Christmas morning to me. Knots in my stomach, and this is just absolutely for a guy like me that loves horse racing, has grown up loving horse racing my entire life since the age of 5 years old, and a guy that literally at the age of 13 called his first horse race and said at the age of 13 that I wanted to run the Meadowlands racetrack and be able to run the Meadowlands on the other side in the old grandstand and then open up this brand new $90 million facility is like a dream come true plus. And I can't thank Jeff Corral enough for putting this plan together and putting me at the helm of it to lead the harness racing industry back in the right direction. So Jeff is very passionate about the sport of horse racing. He loves it and has a passion just much like myself that loves the industry, and it shows in the work and dedication. A guy like him at the age of 71 years old has put into this project himself, personal time, personal money. So it's great to work for a guy like him that absolutely has a passion for racing.
Well, that is wonderful, Jason. Let's try to get as much in as possible here over our last few minutes. What is your target audience for the new Meadowlands?
Well, obviously, Mark, with horse racing, horse racing missed the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds, the 30-somethings, which I fit into. None of my friends would have ever been exposed to horse racing if it wasn't for me back in Newark, Ohio, taking them to Scioto Downs, where, incidentally, I worked at for 10 years. So our marketing demographic is obviously keeping the current customers that we have, making sure that they're happy, and bringing new customers into the facility as well. And I think the ways that we do that are through our innovative approaches of customer service. Now, I said innovative, but that's something that the horse racing industry has lacked as well as customer service. And I think customer service, all my employees know, people know that talk to me all the time, customer service is paramount. It's the lifeblood, it's the cornerstone of any good organization. So we have customer service training classes twice a year, which I teach all of my employees. So getting them here, the wow factor, teaching them how to bet, teaching them about the sport of horse racing. We've got Horseshoe University that we have, which teaches people how to read a program, how to bet, those kind of things. Every live race night, Darren Zaccali, our director of racing, and Jen Bongiorno, our administrative assistant, and also marketing as well, is going to teach a handicapping class before the races from 6 to 6:30, and we're going to have walk-around tellers that can also answer questions with these bright yellow shirts on, walk-around tellers taking bets, have pamphlets to be able to teach people, what they need to know about racing. And in addition to that, the most intimidating part, Mark, of coming to a racetrack, I've always been told by my friends and my family that don't know much about the sport when they get here, they've got the program, which is tough to read, and then they've got the program, which is tough to read. But then at that point in time, after that intimidating process, they have to go even into a more intimidating process, which is standing at a mutual line with seasoned people behind them, barking at them as they're trying to get questions answered and stuff like that. So we've developed beginner lines for our patrons here as well at the Meadowlands Racing Entertainment. So we've tried to think of just about everything that we can do, but as I said before, it all starts with customer service and marketing and getting these people in the door. And, we've got 19 million people within a 40-mile square radius. So, it makes for, we can get a fraction of those people here to the racetrack and get them in the door and teach them about the sport of horse racing and providing them with excellent levels of customer service and dining options. And one thing I forgot, Mark, is our Victory Sports Bar. The place is absolutely amazing. It's going to be opened up today for the first time and unveiled, and it's amazing. So people will be coming to that. I had somebody tell me last week that we had a great opportunity to be the place to go for sports, for sports viewing right here in northern New Jersey, right here at Victory Sports Bar. So, we've got a lot going on. We're trying to do everything. We're trying to think of all the details, the level of detail that went into this place, right down to the color of the carpet and the seats that are everywhere. So we've tried to think of everything, and getting people here, getting them accommodated, and keeping them here, and making sure that it's customer service.
In the minute we have left, Jason, 7:15 post tonight, I'm going to put you to work from a handicapping standpoint very quickly. Second race, free-for-all for trotters tonight. Is Market Share too tough in there?
Market Share is a great horse. I mean, obviously, he's made over $820,000 this year, almost $3 million in his career. Took a mark in Lexington and last year of 150-3 as a 3-year-old, and came back and equaled that this year here at the Meadowlands. He's a very, very nice horse coming off that American National win out there at Balmoral Park, and then he also won the Breeders' Crown at Pocono. But you know what? He's 4-5 on the morning line. I think he is beatable because it is a short 6-horse field in here, and one of the horses I like for a price is Wishing Stone.
All right, and you've got a free-for-all Pace in tonight's 7th. Is Foiled Again the one to beat?
Foiled Again, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at him right now. He's got a picture right in the middle of my wall here in my office. He's one of my favorite horses. I'm one of his biggest fans. What a great racehorse this horse has been right along. I mean, this horse here is absolutely amazing. Just the level of dedication and guts and everything that this horse has: 196 career starts, 74 wins, 49 seconds, 27 thirds, and almost $5.8 million in earnings, making him the richest pacer in the world. And I think there's some kind of dispute going on right now if he's the richest horse overall in horse racing on the standardbred side. But foaled again, you can't say enough about him. I mean, he's just an unbelievable horse. He's got gate speed. He's been on his game for the last 5 or 6 starts. I've heard he's had allergies that may affect him in the spring and summer. So really, this time of year really is foaled again time of year. And, for him to be racing since the Levy till now and making $1.1 million is just unbelievable. Well, and look at his age. I mean, the age is just unbelievable that this horse has continued to dominate like he has, at the age of 9 years old. I mean, he seriously is up for right now, Age Pacer of the Year award again. And I think if he can get that victory tonight and he can get that victory next week in the TVG free-for-all, I think he's a no-brainer at that.
Well, Jason, we were very pleased to have you on this morning's show. Thanks so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. All the best to you and Jeff Gorell on the opening night of the new Meadowlands, and we hope to see you down there very soon.
Very good. I appreciate the time here this morning, Mark.
Thank you, Jason. Jason Settlemore, ladies and gentlemen. Opening night tonight, the Meadowlands, 7:15. Want to thank everybody who helped get this week's show on the air. Our associate producer, Julie Hoxie, Dino Contanacci, and Mick Richards. Back in the control room in Schenectady, Pat Peretta directed. Vince Westcott. Thanks to this morning's guests, Tommy Albertrani, Richard Baltus, Alex Clarkson, and Jason Settlemore. And thanks to our sponsor, Embrace the Race, the apparel for the horse racing lifestyle. Available to Museum of Racing, at their new store at 12 Circular Street in Saratoga, and online at EmbraceTheRace.com. And one final reminder, programming note, next week, because of the early first post for Cigar Mile Day, we will be on the air 1/2 hour earlier at 9:30, next Saturday at 9:30. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so very much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a terrific upcoming week. And from all of us here at Down the Stretch, we'll see you next week.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.